My course, Business and Politics, has that name and not government regulation because a major theme of the class is that the means we use to influence private behaviors in market systems are socially constructed. They're discretionary. They're frequently negotiated. Regulation is usually not a technical solution to a well-understood market defect. Regulation involves public choice. Thus, in Business and Politics, we compare the alternatives of public and private means of enterprise. We contrast the performance of regulatory instruments, the different tools that are used to regulate, and we also consider the strategic and political aspects of how these regulatory regimes operate. Of particular interest are modern regulatory tools that are sensitive to the ways in which people make choices in everyday life. Now, the course uses no-can cases. All the examples of regulation are taken from practice and from media stories. I also use several short videos that I recorded myself from media reports. Using actual, mostly recent cases of regulation lends the course a kind of dramatic immediacy. It's not unusual for students to send me updates on these cases even after the course is over. Students have the option of preparing a regulatory analysis. This allows them to apply the course materials to an area of regulation that interests them. So what do? Well, they review the social, economic, and other societal problem at which a particular regulation is nominally directed. They describe the regulation. They evaluate the regulation's performance, its effectiveness. They consider all the interests that seek to influence its design, administration, and implementation. They evaluate whether the regulation should be modified, maybe deregulated, and if change is being advocated, they propose a replacement. In Business and Politics, students learn that regulation in the United States exists in a political, negotiated environment structured by the rules of the administrative and democratic institutions of our political system. As such, regulation is a process managed on both sides. On the regulator side, we see what I'll call practical compliance, as regulators seek to, within the incentives and the expectations that are placed on them in the administrative and political setting in which they operate, they seek to make regulation an effective going concern. On the other side, on the side of the regulated entities, the individuals and organizations, the firms, interest groups, including public interest groups, on that side, of course, we see attempts to shape regulatory institutions, to shape the outcomes in order to perhaps achieve public or private benefits. In this surprisingly discretionary environment, regulatory design and active management really do make a difference.